Hi, happy fall. It is now October, which means we get to do our fun clay pumpkins. I know some of you have done it before, but um, most of you have asked me to do it again because you want to make a pumpkin patch. And so now here's your chance to make another one to add to another year. And you can have a few pumpkins and leave them out from October until January. Or give them away as presents. I've given quite a few of these away and people love them. It's almost insane how much people love these little pumpkins. I think it just cheers everyone up, and they can always put it on a table, you know, as a centerpiece with some candles, or leave it out for Christmas. So yes, these are gonna be good, especially with, you know, the pandemic going, and cheer some up that are kind of depressed about Thanksgiving, and it's gonna be different this year. So anything you can do to make people happier is a good thing. So let me show you some of them up close. Each pumpkin is different. Please make it however you'd like. If you want one that's long, like tall and kind of crooked with a big crazy stem, or if you like one that's more kind of short, fat, and round. Or this one's got really deep grooves on the top of it, so it's pretty exaggerated, as you can see at the top. So each one of these is different. You know, just I want you to make it your own, and no pumpkin's perfect. So, you know, honestly, the more crooked, the more it leans, the better it's probably gonna look, and the more unique it's gonna be. And we've used all these supplies before, but I'll give you a refresher. You're going to need Sculpey, the Sculpey clay. This box is so big I can't get it in the frame, but this is the Sculpey white clay, and we're going to use a bigger chunk of it. So you can tell this is how it comes out of the box. That's too big, but I'm going to take some of that off. You're going to warm it in your hand. So you can tell, you know, it's gonna get warm. You just keep squeezing it, moving it around. See little pieces fall off. I like to pick those back up so I'm not wasting any clay. And then, so, you know, so we're gonna need the clay. You're also gonna need the pigments. Most of you have gold and you have silver. If you wanted to do just gold, you can do that. If you wanted to mix your gold and silver and make kind of a rose gold, you can do that. And if you like a silver pumpkin, it just depends on the decor of your house, you can just do plain silver. And one thing about the silver is they look really good for Christmas, so you can leave those up. But you know, this is the Pearl X pigments. And if you want to really experiment with colors, you can go buy an entire set at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. This costs about $26, I think. It's got a ton of colors, and they are beautiful colors. If you want to just play and really have a bigger selection, if you like doing the clay and the pigments, I suggest you go buy your own, and then that way you can make really unique jewelry and sculptures and use any colors you want, because I know that we can't buy this for everybody, so you're a little limited by just silver and gold and then rose gold. So if you like doing this kind of stuff, I think you should buy your own, and there's a ton of color choices. As you can see, they're all metallic. And of course, you're going to need a pencil. Make sure your pencil has a good edge. I mean, a good point, and it's kind of clean. So if you've used clay pencils a lot, make sure that there's not too much clay stuck to the sides. Okay, so continue warming your clay up in your hand. Put some of these back in the frame so you can see them as we work. Okay, so keep warming. And roll it into a ball. Okay, so just keep rolling, and once you get your ball, you figure out your pumpkin shape. Now, if you want it to be short and round, you can leave it just like this. This is how this one got started. Okay, if you want a short round one, you can leave it as this ball, because once we squish it in and do the edges, it's gonna be You know, it's gonna be kind of fat and perfectly round. If you wanna make it taller, I want you to roll it in the same direction. So the ball, I was rolling kind of evenly in circles. After this, you know, just elongate it. So that's kind of the tall, which I think I'm gonna do a tall one. I might do a tall crookedy one. So once you have your shape, you need to make the top of it, and it's got to be kind of like a groove at the top. So I want you to take the top of your pumpkin and push in with your finger. If you have fingernails, this might be hard, and you can use the eraser of your pencil. That works too. So I'm going to do both. Okay, so I use my finger and I use the eraser, and we're eventually going to put a little stem in that. But we're not going to do that now. Stem is last. And while you're here, let's go ahead and smooth the fingernail marks out right now, because this will help in the later. This is save a step. And okay, so that's good. So we got the top of our pumpkin. I want you to go ahead and it's not going to stand right now. We need to get that bottom flat. So you're going to tap until it sits. And if it still feels wobbly, tap some more. You can even kind of move it side to side, tap, tap, move it side to side, and you can tell when it's ready. So I'm making this one kind of crooked. So if you wanted to make it even more crooked, you can tap it to where it's really leaning. That's probably crooked enough for me. So we got that done. So now it stands. Take your pencil, take the sharp edge, and kind of put it right into the center of your divot and push the pencil in. Okay, push it in. And I want you to roll that pencil all the way down. Okay? Roll it down, and I want you to even go to the bottom, because the pumpkins are going to have little grooves at the bottom too. And you can go back and forth like that if you want. That's going to give you the shape. We're going to do that all the way around. And it's kind of nice because the shape of this pencil really does look like a pumpkin in the clay. And it just gives some really interesting angles. It's fun. You can't really mess these up, because if you end up doing an ugly pumpkin, I mean, everyone still likes a weird little ugly pumpkin. So this is a really fun project. You cannot really get upset or stressed about these little things. Okay, so we got that. So just keep going, and you can move them. You can have more or less of them. If you want to do more space, you can do that. You can do this one. This one's a little different. This one used the pencil, and then we drew into it as well. I say we because Lee made this little pumpkin. She likes gnarly. She calls it her gnarly pumpkin. And Lee, if you're watching this, I hope you're laughing. But yeah, so you can definitely do kind of some funky shapes. So you can draw into it too, which I will show you. So say I want to use the pencil right here and just do an extra line. Draw into it, go in between. And then I'm going to show you the difference. So see, that just added, so that's what it was like with just the side of the pencil. That is what it's like with the pencil point as well. So let's keep going. I'm going to just continue doing the side of the pencil, and then I might add some drawing in between. Now be careful when you're doing this, because you're going to push. You might use your finger and push and take away some of your marks. So be a little bit gentle how you're holding it. And if you want them deeper, just keep going, okay? And you can move it side to side. So I'm gonna go and do this one too. So let's move it side to side. And I'll show you the difference. See if you notice. That's moving it side to side. See how it looks a little wider, and you can see the angle of the pencil. And then that's the pencil point. And that's just using it once and not going side to side. So you can kind of tell a difference. Subtle. But when we get the pigment on here, you will definitely notice these marks. So So I'm gonna go side to side for now on these. I think it's kind of fun and it looks good. And I haven't done one like this yet where I do a lot more side to side to get more lines. Okay. So there's some little marks I made. I'm going to smooth those out on the edges where I held it. And now if you want to add any more pencil lines, go in and you can add some of those just as you wish. Remember to clean the pencil tip off after you use it to draw. I know I say this a lot, but sometimes a reminder is good. It's easy to get in the art moment and forget. Okay, so see there came some chunks. I got to clean it up. And that is too deep. So sometimes these pencil lines are too deep and you have to just move your finger over them. And do a couple more pencil marks over here. Drawing. And for those of you that have done this project with me before, I think it's good for you to do the drawing as well as using a side of the pencil, because I know we didn't usually do both. And so just to add an extra technique, I'd like you to do that, just because it's going to give you more dimension, just more lines and more to look at. You want these to be really interesting, and you keep turning them. Like you can put them one way and it looks different, then the other side's going to have more dimension. So these are great. They can last forever. I know a lot of people that have used these little pumpkins for years. They stay in good shape. Just don't get them wet. The pigment does not like water, so don't try to clean them with some kind of wet cleaner. All right, I think this is looking good. Now let's do the stem. Make sure it still stands. I know that after you held it, some things may change, and figure out what kind of stem you want. This one's just a tiny, tiny one, kind of a medium. This one's got a little bit of a curl at the top of it. And then this one's really big and long and twisted. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the clay was twisted. So let's take just a little piece of clay. And honestly, I should have said this in the beginning. When you make the ball, pinch a little bit of clay off. Because activities directors, you'll probably prep the clay for your students. You just want to give them like kind of a golf ball size piece of clay, and then just have them pinch off a little bit at the beginning to set aside for their stem later. That's easier. Okay, so let's just move it in our fingers. This is the tiny one. If I wanted a tiny one. If I wanted to curl the end, I just push it. If I want a longer one, just pull it. You can even twist it. See how it just makes it a little bit different when you twist it. And then kind of see what it looks like. And if that's big enough, or if you want it bigger, you can make it bigger. I think that's fine for me. I think it's cute. But you can do whatever you want. So this is your pumpkin. Please make it however you like it. So I'm doing a little curl on that. I'm going to tap it again just to make sure it stands really well. Like stands up and won't. Okay, so now before we put the pigment on, let's take another look at every side. Make sure that it is perfect and ready to go. Once you put the pigment on, it's harder to make any changes. And you don't really want to. The pigment dries the clay out, so you don't want to work it after there's pigment on it. It will kind of crumble. It's fine, for baking, but you don't want to work with it anymore. All right, let's get our pigments. And Using a paper plate keeps this mess under control, and you'll also get to recycle the unused pigment. I know everybody has gold, so let's go ahead and do gold. Now, if you want to make a rose gold, use a little bit of gold and a lot of silver and mix it together, and it makes a rose gold. Actually, this is a good example of what the rose gold looks like. This is an owl, which you guys remember, we've done owls before. So this is the rose gold. So that's the gold, and this is the rose gold. I just wanted to show you the difference. So the silver and the gold will make this rose gold if you want to make that color of pumpkin. And you need a paintbrush, preferably a soft one, because the coarse bristles will make marks in your clay. So at this point, I want you to just paint that entire thing, and you can leave it and let it stand there and just tap around the top. Make sure not to mess your stem up and just kind of lightly tap to get all the grooves. Now, you need this pigment to fall into the deep markings you made. Sometimes that's why you have to tap it. And then go around the sides. You can move the paper plate. That's another reason these are good. So here, I'll move it. I was gonna move it to where you can see it better. Here we go. So there we go, just keep painting. Make sure the whole thing is covered. I personally I don't mind getting my fingers messy, so I personally like to hold it because then I have more control over everything. So see, I'm just slowly rotating it. If you just used a lot of lotion on your hands, it might take away some of this pigment. You might have to go over it again. So think about doing art, you might not want to put a bunch of heavy lotion or anything on your hands because it takes away paint, it takes away clay stuff. It can impact how your art's going to turn out. Most of you will notice that most artists' hands are not that gorgeous, and we never have good nails, and it's because of all of these materials are not the greatest for your skin or nails. And you have to be careful about lotions and soaps because it will impact how your art turns out. Okay, so now I've got the thing covered. I want to go and brush the excess off. So I'm going to go around. There's some powder that we need to brush off because it soaks into the clay, so you don't need extra powder just sitting on top. So let's brush that off and leave it on the plate so we can recycle the pigment. Reuse it for next time. And then, so this can go right back into your little jar. And let's take a look at our beautiful pumpkin. I mean, they are so pretty. I just love these things. I think they turn out so cute. Okay, so now, I think it looks great. Definitely got every edge. I got the bottom, get the bottom. And if you want to write a message, say you want to give that to someone special, or you want to, write your name on it, whatever you want to do, you can draw in the bottom of it with your pencil. So if you want to if you need to write your initials so that you guys know whose is who, then do that at the bottom. I just did a heart. An upside down heart to you. There we go. There's a heart. Okay, so now pumpkin's done. Let's go bake it. This time I want you to do 275, and let's leave it in there for a good 12 to 13 minutes. These things, because this is a lot more clay than we usually use, they will be like boiling rocks. Do not touch these. So after the 12 to 13 minutes, take them out of the oven, leave them on the cookie sheet. I want you to put foil on top of the cookie sheet just to protect the cookie sheet. I don't want you to put this on anything that you're going to eat from. So just be safe, you know, safe as possible. So use foil, put it on the cookie sheet, bake it for 12 to 13 minutes, take it out of the oven, leave it on the cookie sheet to cool, and these will take longer to cool, so I would say 10 minutes. Just leave them, let them sit there and cool. Then you can have them back and take them home. Do whatever you want with them. These will never break. I mean, this is just like solid clay. They're gonna be really durable. They're great. But yes, they will be very hot, so don't try to pick them up. I know you guys get excited and you wanna touch them, and then you burn your hands. So do not do that. I'm not there to monitor. Anyways, enjoy. Happy fall. I'll see you in a week.